Hi guys, we're back again this week with one of my best friends and literal fashion icon, Mary Mettenberger. We're so excited to have her this week and literally grill her ass on fashion questions to make sure that we are up to date. As you can see, I copy everything she does. We have on matching shoes today. Mary's hair is like a very particular situation, and I want to show you guys how to do it. It's something it took me many years to master, doing this kind of transformation and having it look good on camera. If you guys follow me on socials, you'll see that I say on camera hair color a lot. And that is because a lot of my clients are on camera, and whether you are on camera or not, you deserve to have on camera hair. And that is something I want to teach you guys. So we're going to do a really special install today. We're going to be using all fine bonds because we have to put so much hair in Mary to give her the look that she wants. Again, when you're doing this kind of extension transformation, the health of the hair really has to be number one. Your clients are your people. You can't ruin their hair with hair extensions. That's always everyone's number one concern. So we're gonna go over everything start to finish, from application, cutting, at-home care, to make sure that we give your client the absolute perfect Mary Delight application. We picked out her colors and they literally match perfect. We're gonna be using color 26 and color 22. Usually we would put more in, but color 22 is very dimensional. So you really don't wanna do too much when you don't have to. If the colors match, stick with those colors. Even if one color matches perfectly and it does have dimension, I would stick with that one color if nothing else matches perfectly. We're gonna use the color 26 to put in a few lighter pops where we need them, and the more dimensional color 22 more throughout the head. So we are going to show you guys the sectioning for a dual application. Isabel and I are going to start the application together because we do use so much hair on Mary and all fine bonds. You want to make sure that the front sections are as close to the back sections in size as possible. Usually when I see people do this at home, they make the front sections too small. So the goal is really to finish at the same time as your co-applicator, if you will. So we're gonna get started, and the reason why I love the sectioning so much is because we can both work on opposite sides of the head and not run into each other. It's also nice because when we switch, it means that one person will always have applied the front and one person will always have applied the back. So usually with clients, it's a lot safer to do it that way so that they don't feel that one side is uneven from the other. So let's get into it. Like I said, we are going to be using small bonds. In the front, I'm going to be doing 2-to-1 dark to light. So 2 of the color 22 to 1 of the color 26. In the back, Isabel is going to start all with color 22 until we feel like we've gotten enough depth built up in the back. When you take your section, the size of the section that comes out of the shield is going to dictate how much hair you use. So I've done Mary's hair before, so I know that she needs fine bonds all over. If you pull hair out of here and it is enough hair per square inch, you can use a full bond. It's pretty rare on someone with fine hair. So we're going to go ahead and use all fine bonds on our whole head because we want it to look really natural and we want to make sure that we get even coverage all over. If we did use full bonds on our head, it would be way too much hair because we are going to go up all the way to the top of her head near her bang area. So when you section, you're going to take the same type of section as you do. It's really just a square, just like the shield. So the shield really is your cheat sheet when you're applying, and you're going to go ahead and clip it in. So in the front, it can sometimes be tempting to start with a lighter color, but as you can see with the color that I did for her, there is darker around the face. So I'm not going to put lighter around the face because it's not going to match the color that I created. We're going to go in with the color 26, and that's going to make sure that we have a seamless application. I like to heat my bond up before I go in because it means less heat on Mary's hair and more healthy grow out. So I just go ahead and give the bond a little tap, and then I go in and I put the bond close to the root, and then I pull it down just a bit. You're not trying to get the bond close to the scalp, as close as you can at least, because it will cause damage to the hair. And we want to make sure that we're leaving the natural hair as healthy as possible. It also just wouldn't be comfortable and it would rip out her hair. So that is a no. So we're going to get a little close up on this. And then you're going to be able to see that she can immediately pull her hair up into a ponytail if she wanted. I don't recommend doing that right away, but you never know what clients are going to do at home. So I like to leave enough room so that there's safety and that it's not too close to the scalp so that no damage can occur, especially when someone has fine hair with Mary. This is so, so important. And leaving that tiny, tiny little space. It's almost like a half a centimeter. It's not gonna make the extensions not last long enough. It's going to just give a really safe wear throughout the application and a really comfortable wear throughout the application. So we have been using color 22 with just a few sprinkles of color 26. We're only on the second row. And when you look at it from far away, it can look a little chunky, but we're not done yet. We still have about 8 rows to go to get all the way up into her bang area. So once we cut it and blend it, it's going to look really nice with just the perfect amount of dimension. So don't get in your head when you're just a few rows in if it looks like this, because it's gonna look perfect when we're all done. You just have to give it time, really build up the color in the rows, and then it's gonna look exactly how we want it to look. So this is normal, and we're just gonna keep going up all the way to the top. Like I mentioned before, we are gonna go all the way up into Mary's bang area. She is the very responsible client that can hold the bonds up in that area. And again, it's all about client care, explaining to the clients how to take care of them when they're in that area. And Mary has proven herself a reputable user. So we are going to go ahead and keep doing that for her. It would just be important on a client that you don't know to check in with them, I would say 6 weeks in, and just ask them to send a photo of the area to make sure that they're not being too rough on it, pulling the hair out. And if not, you're good to go. Totally a safe area. Okay, so we just finished the front left side and the back right side. In the front left side, I went 10 rows up and we went really close in front to kind of conceal the little shorter bang area for Mary. We haven't cut anything yet, but you can just notice how seamless it already is, even though we haven't cut. That's because we used all fine bonds and was really specific with our color placement and with our bond placement. We're going to go ahead and do the other side and meet you guys back when we're all finished. Okay, so we have just finished Mary's application of her individual keratin extensions. We ended up using 9 bundles. We mixed color 22 and color 26. Came out absolutely gorgeous. We did the bonds all the way up to right about here. So this again is a lot closer and higher than we normally do, but to transform Mary's bob to this 22-inch length, that's what had to be done. So we did it. I would definitely recommend when you're doing this to make sure that you have enough time, possibly make it your last client of the day to make sure that you can do it perfectly. There's nothing worse than having to rush an application, especially when it's this detailed with this much hair. So that would be my #1 recommendation. We're gonna go ahead and get into the haircut, which is my personal favorite part of doing hair extensions. It's really all in the details. So when you're finishing a look, you need to make sure that the cut is done with the absolute care, absolute precision possible. I always use the slide cutting technique when I'm cutting, which means I'm just really slightly wiggling my thumb to just get the nice blend that we're looking for to really just finish off this seamless application. So that's it, that's simple. We're just gonna do this exact thing and work our way to the back. I like to start in the very front just so I can make sure that I'm getting enough layer around the face so that it looks natural. You can always cut more. It's what I say in every class that we teach. You can't put it back, especially when someone's paying this much money for an application. It's better to go slow and make sure that everything's blending how the client wants versus getting in there and being too aggressive. So that's looking really good, and especially because she wants to keep as much length as possible, we're not gonna go too crazy with the layers because that would make the ends of the hair look too thin, which is not the goal. We want the ends to look full but natural. So we're going to do the same thing on her right side. So you can just tell compared to the other side, this just looks like her natural hair. Now it has a lot more movement. You can see her face a little bit more. We don't want to hide her face with the extensions. I usually start my layering below the chin because once you're done, you can always go back and cut more. It's just safer to start that way. So when you're cutting, the goal is really to just blend this out because we used fine bonds. It already has a really nice blend, but we're looking to get the movement back in the hair. So start about midway through and just gently slide cut down. You really don't want to overcomplicate what you're doing. Just make a plan, stick to it section by section, go slowly but methodically, and just really stick to the original plan. Things can go wrong if you just start going in there and you're not organized with the plan. So that's really all I want to do with the front for now. I'm going to go ahead and blend in the back a little bit, and then we can come back to the face frame and see how she's feeling. Because like I said, you can always cut more. We can't put it back. So let's go ahead and turn Mary around and look at how the black back is blending in. And it's already pretty seamless, even though we haven't cut anything. That's because it's a pro application, which is what you're looking for. And it really is going to make your haircut a lot easier if you do the application properly. So what that means for Mary specifically is that we needed to go high up enough with her bonds to ensure a seamless blend. So her top bond is pretty close. It's right about here. You can't see it because the color match is quite nice. We did go pretty high on her head. So another good tip when you're applying that high up in the head is you want to make sure that you leave a little bit of space between the bonds, because this is going to make them even more seamless and even more undetectable, whereas if they're in a constant row, it makes it a bit easier to see the bonds in the hair. So let's just put that back down. Again, it already blends so well. Because Mary's hair is so short and it is a little finer, we're not trying to layer from this piece down. We don't need to do that. It would make it look too choppy in the back. So I'm really just trying to add some really nice, soft movement and layer in the hair. So if she had thicker hair didn't blend in, you would typically look where this starts and this stops and start cutting there. But for Mary, we don't need to do that. So I'm actually gonna go down quite a bit further from her head and just gently taper it down. And this is gonna give us all the layer that we need without taking out the bulk. Because if you remember, we used all fine bonds on Mary, so we have to be really careful with the haircut or the ends could get too thin looking really quickly. You don't need to take small sections. I recommend taking bigger sections. It makes everything look a little bit more blended and you just save time. The haircut really should only take about 5 minutes if you're doing it correctly and you put the hair in correctly. Go ahead and give it a little shake, Mary. Perfect. So that's what you're looking for. It's just that seamless blend. I can tell a little bit right here, so I'm just gonna add in a little bit more lightness right through here. But that's really the goal, is just to make sure that when the client moves their head, you can't tell where their natural hair stops and where the extensions start. We did a really nice color blend, which of course is a huge part in blending. And the cut is just so much easier when you really have all the pro steps down. So now that the blend looks nice, we're just gonna go ahead in at the very ends of the hair and just clean them up. When you're cleaning up the ends of the hair, it's really important to just use either a slide cutting technique by picking them up and sliding down, or just a point cutting technique where you're just going to cut up into the hair so that it leaves that nice, soft, natural texture that we're seeing at the bottom now. So with the 22-inch length, you obviously start at the nape of the hair and work your way up. So if we trim that off right there, it's still gonna be 22 inches. This is really just the hair that was done quite low. That is still going to give her the length she needs, but we need to make sure that we even it up with the rest of the hair in the application. So I'm just gonna take that little inch off, or it's gonna look just like a little rat taily, which is obviously not what we want. You're kind of looking for like a nice U shape in the hair, kind of like this. That's looking really nice, really natural. What I'm gonna do now is go ahead and just turn Mary around and pull everything forward and check the length that way as well. Just a little tiny bit right here that you're just gonna use the point cutting technique. Just going to make sure everything looks really even, really soft. I always love a soft blunt finish. It just mimics normal hair the best. You really have to check the extensions from every angle. So that's why we took her to the back and then checked everything in the back, pulled everything to the front. Now we're checking everything in the front to make sure no matter what she does at home, she always has a seamless finish. Generally with hair cutting, you're working with a guide, and with extensions, it's more of just off of your eye to make sure everything's even. So that's why you saw me just pull up both sides like this, so I could just make sure that everything's even. So I'm really liking how everything is looking. I'm gonna go ahead and spin Mary toward the mirror so that she can take a look and see how she's feeling.
I know you love a face frame, so I'm like, let's give it a go. And I wanna try it.
It's about me, obviously. So I do love a face frame. We're gonna lighten it up just a little bit more because it is a 22-inch length. I am happier that she's open to a little bit more face framing. You just have to make sure that you keep in mind she is gonna curl it. It is gonna pop up a little bit when she washes it, so you don't wanna go too crazy with it. But I do think we can lighten it up just a little bit more around the face where I think that it might just swallow her face up a little bit. She has a beautiful petite face, so you just want to make sure that she's not all hair and really she's wearing the hair, not the hair is wearing her. So the cut is officially perfect. I'm so happy. We're gonna go ahead and style. Mary loves this like soft wave look that we use the Hair Be Run Straight for. This is a brand from Japan. It's my absolute favorite. It does not damage the hair. It leaves an incredible shine. You'll see when we start doing Mary's hair. She also uses these at home, which is part of the reason why she has truly not like one split end on her head. And even though her hair is finer, it definitely improves with each wear. And I wish that we had better befores from every time to show, but like it has gotten so much better over the last year that we've worked together, which is also so much credit to Mary because she is such a good student of mine.
No, I mean,
and just takes care of it so well.
Mind you, my hair was, when we first came in,
it was really short, guys.
It was really short. And now, I mean, it's growing. It's getting there.
The first time was a lot of bundles. I think the first time was like 13 bundles because she did have
a bob.
Quite literally. Like a chin length bob.
Yeah.
How far we've come.
I know. We'll have to find a picture of it.
We have
and
to.
pop it in.
So we're gonna go ahead and get styling. I'm gonna start on the front section. This is a style that I feel like can intimidate people to do, but it does look so nice. There are the waving irons, which I do like if you're in a pinch, but doing it with a Hair Be Run Straight, it looks a little bit more editorial. It looks a little bit more chic, and it looks a little bit less crimpy, which I like. If you are gonna use a waving iron, a good trick is to do it at night and then sleep with it in a loose braid, and that will give you that kind of more like messed up look. But Mary did a tutorial one time on this look. She is so good at styling her hair at home, and she said something that really stuck with me, which was like the more messy it is, the better, which is so true, and it's really encouraging to clients to hear. So it really does not need to be perfect when you're going down.
Yeah.
So I like to warm up the section a little bit first. That kind of gets everything ready to go. And then when Mary said like kind of the more messed up the better, like when you're doing this and putting the waves in the hair, it doesn't need to be the exact part that you're curving it at. Kind of like the more natural it is, the better.
I think another thing that people go wrong with this look is that they start the crimp too high up on their head, and that's where it starts looking like unnatural. Because if you were gonna sleep with this hairstyle in, or just wake up and it naturally be like this, you would never have a crimp all up your part.
And then I like to also just kind of change the angle that I go at so that the whole head isn't the exact same angle. And Mary likes it a little bit wavier towards the bottom to mimic a natural texture. So that's also what we go for. So up here is a little bit straighter, then on the very end, she likes it just a little bit more waved.
Another thing that I've found that I really like when I do this hairstyle, like if I am in a pinch and I don't have like a ton of time, I will use a crimper, but I always, like the thing that has made the biggest difference is I always go over the final, like when I'm all done, I go over it with my Hair Be Run.
Okay.
Because it like completely smooths it out. It makes it look so much more polished.
Okay. I think that's a really good tip. You could also do the bottom parts with a waving iron.
Yeah, I just do the bottom. I don't even go up on my head. Like I literally will go from like here down on just the crimper. It's probably like literally one section of it.
Yeah.
And then I'll just kind of go over it. It almost like kind of straightens out the crimp, so it's not so like manufactured.
Totally.
And it's a little bit more natural.
I find this really quick to do. So I do my whole head with this when I do this look, and it's really fast once you get it down. So you can see how I'm starting not at the root of her hair, which is also a key when you're doing this. And you can go slow with this because it's not damaging to the hair, so you don't need to work super fast. It is on the highest setting. And then you just want to make sure that you're really getting the ends nipped in, that you don't leave them straight. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and put a little bit of finishing product on Mary's hair. A big no-no I see people do a lot with extensions are using texture spray. You do not need texture spray. Individuals naturally will separate on their own. Would not recommend adding texture spray to them on a normal basis. I love this Bomane hairspray. It does add a tiny bit of texture, but within reason. So we're just gonna go ahead. I really like with hairspray to spray it from the bottom and kind of up into the hair. So you really want to let the hair cool down first before you start spraying it with a lot of product, before you start combing through it. And then we're going to gently brush it out. I'm gonna go ahead and just start working through the ends, making sure that you're holding it at the root so you're not hurting the client. So once you just gently brush through it, you're going to put a tiny bit of oil. So we're gonna take our Line 1 oil that was specifically formulated for extensions. I like it and formulated to be very, very light. So you're just gonna take 1 pump like this. You wanna make sure that you're not just doing this and putting in the hair. A lot of people do that and there's a pool of product in the palm and that's gonna make it really oily where you don't want it to be. So just making sure that you really go in there and saturate and get a nice thin layer all over your hands before working it through the hair. Okay, so we're gonna spin Mary around and let her see her fresh new hair.
I mean, y'all just killed it with the color. I can't get over it.
The match is so good.
It's so good. I feel like I say this every time, but I really do truly mean it. This might be my favorite color. It really might.
You're gonna say that.
No, I feel like this one might. I feel like it's the closest to my natural, which is what I really wanted.
Thank you guys so much for being with us today. I really hope that this application helps you guys become the extension experts that you want to be. This is definitely a more advanced application that took me a lot of years to learn and a lot of practicing and a lot of failing and a lot of trying again. So my advice would be just start. Don't let perfectionism stop you guys from starting. If you're really nervous, you can always do it on a doll head and just really get your bonds perfect and then really work on the application. It's super helpful if you have a friend or a family member that you can work on so that you can really see the extension application throughout the wear and see how you can improve upon what you're doing. If you're someone that really needs to learn in person, you can go to line1hair.com and book your private education. We do offer group classes, we offer private training, we offer whole salon certification. I would 1000% recommend to book in-person education. You won't regret it. Our team's amazing, and we really have put my 20 years of extension experience into the class for you guys. My name is Drea. I am the owner of Line 1 Hair and also the founder of Bomane. Thank you guys for being here with us today. You can follow us on TikTok, on Instagram, and find all of our other episodes on this channel to really improve all of your skills and get you guys where you want to be.